If you ever wanted to look at a car with big shoes to fill, it's the one parked behind me. Now, its predecessor, the first generation VW Tiguan, sold nearly 3 million cars around the world. 19,000 of those were in our country, and behind the Golf and the Polo, it was VW South Africa's third best-selling car. Now, the game's moved on a bit since that first Tiguan was launched back in 2007. That car was based on VW's PQ35 platform, which underpinned the previous Golf and the Audi A3. But since then, there's been a slew of crossover SUVs that have arrived on our market. The Koreans, Hyundai and Kia, Ford's Kuga, Honda CR-V, all those cars have offered more space, better engines, nicer interiors, better value for money. So what has VW done with this new generation Tiguan to either keep up with that crop or hopefully better them? It's certainly a much better looking car, a more masculine design, more square of jaw. Also the second car from VW's chief designer Klaus Bischoff that carries the new nose. And here the very strong theme is one of horizontal lines with these strong creases that flow backwards towards the rear of the car. It's a wider, lower, much more purposeful stance. I think a much better looking car. The car we're testing today is the 110 kilowatt 1.4 TSI model. It's Comfortline spec, it's got the DSG gearbox, it's got one other thing too, and that's the R-Line design package. And what that means is different bumpers with black accents. It's got 19-inch alloys, door sills and a rear spoiler. Definitely improves on the car. It's an 18,000 Rand option. And gee, I can't remember the last time I drove a VW that it's got this much attention from other road users. So from an engineering point of view, the big news with this is the fact that it uses VW's MQB platform. Now, this is the first time it's been used as an SUV crossover. It's the platform that underpins, to much acclaim, the VW Golf and the Audi A3. In this application, it's 60 millimeters longer than the predecessor. It also means a lower car by 33 millimeters and a stiffer car. The torsional rigidity has been improved. But it's really stepping inside the new Tiguan where you can really see the benefits of this new platform. As soon as you get into the car, the one thing you notice immediately is just how much more space there is in this new Tiguan. The driver is going to get 8 millimeters more headroom. I love touches like this headrest that not only moves up and down, but forwards and backwards. Sitting in the back of the passengers, you've got more shoulder room, definitely more headroom, and noticeably more room for your legs. There's a boot is bigger too. There's a 40-20-40 split with the seats. If you move the seats forward as you can, you get a maximum of 336 cubic decimeters of space at the back. So a much roomier interior. Now, if you're a fan of the VW school of interior design, you're going to love this. Like the Golf and like the Passat, a little bit somber, a little bit pragmatic, but high perceived quality. What I really like about the design is it pulls through those horizontal elements from the nose onto the dash, very prominent here. Infotainment system, you get a couple of options. Standard is a 5-inch one, touchscreen. There's an option of a 6.5-inch screen. And if you go for the sat-nav, you get an even bigger one, which we don't have here. You'll get an 8-inch screen. There's also a very good audio system. It's the Dynaudio optional system we have in this car. 9 speakers. Really one of the best I've heard in a car of this size. Now, one of the options with this Tiguan is the digital active info display, which we have in this car and replaces the normal analog. It's really clear and very easy to use. And you can toggle through a different bunch of screens from the music you're listening to, telephone, vehicle status, your driving data, assist systems, and also you can configure the screen here. So we've got a classic view now. We go through speed and gear, consumption and range screen you can choose, efficiency, off-road as well, which is quite cool, shows you the angle of the wheel, your front wheels. A very nice option to have, and I think the VW group is leading the way with this kind of stuff. Very impressive. By the end of the year, there's going to be a wide range of engine derivatives available on the Tiguan. To start off with, it's the 1.4 TSI and their 2 states of tune. There's the 92 kilowatt, and this is the 110 kilowatts in Comfortline trim. It comes with a DSG gearbox. Later on, towards the end of the year, There will be 3 2-liter TDIs in various states of tune, and also the Big Daddy, which will be the 2-liter TSI, and that I think is going to be 162 kilowatts. Both that and all the TDIs will be offered with VW's all-wheel drive 4Motion as well. So let's get on the road and give this one a drive, and I'll tell you what I think about it. As I mentioned earlier, this car came equipped with the R-Line design package, and besides the aesthetics of the bumpers and the rear spoiler and the sills, you also get firmer damper and spring settings, along with lower profile rubber, 45 profile in this case, and 19-inch alloys. So what that's going to mean is that at low speeds, some road imperfections are going to be felt. I know how cool and sexy those low profile tires are, but I would consider that, maybe have a rethink. In this instance, I think the Tiguan would be much better served by the standard 17-inch alloys and 65 profile rubber. It would make for a more comfortable ride. The 110 kilowatts that this 1.4 turbo petrol delivers isn't exactly going to blow your hair back. And what that's meant is that in our performance testing, we did a reasonably respectable 9.57 seconds for our 0 to 100 time. But this car also offers 250 newton meters of torque over a nice flat tabletop torque curve, which is between 1,500 revs per minute and 3,500 revs per minute. So in terms of how those engine outputs translate into the real world, illustrating the torque abilities of the car, is the in-gear acceleration, and there between 60 and 80 kilometers an hour took 4.59 seconds. One of the cool pieces of tech that comes with this car is cylinder shutdown on part throttle. It's a bit of a mouthful, but what it means is that some of the cylinders shut down when they're not needed, and you don't notice it at all when you're driving. The benefits, of course, are improved fuel economy. And on our fuel run that we do for all our cars, and it's the same route, and it's a mix of urban and highway driving, we got a pretty respectable 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers. Also, this has a 58-liter tank, and we estimate a shade over 790 kilometer range for that. The electrically assisted steering is nice and direct. There's not a great deal of feedback. At low speeds though, it's pretty cool because it's really light and easy to park. And what I'll do now, park sensors come standard with this car, as you would have heard. So it makes parking pretty easy. There you go. So how well does the new Tiguan fit those rather large shoes we talked about at the beginning? Well, we have yet to drive the entire range, but based on this, I think we're looking at the new benchmark in this segment.